Dear students, welcome to Computer Science class. I am Shali from Soundarya PU College. Today I am going to start with a new chapter, Classes and Objects. So first we will see what is a class. A class is a collection of objects having similar characteristics and behavior. So a class is a collection of objects. You can say collection of objects or you can say group of objects. So a class is a collection of objects having similar characteristics and behavior. Characteristics means data or you can say member data. Behavior means functions or you can say member function. So you can define class also as a class is a collection of objects having similar data and functions. So two definitions of class I have given. The first one is a class is a collection of objects having similar characteristics and behavior. The second one, a class is a collection of objects having similar data and function. I'll give one more definition for class. Classes are user-defined data type. User-defined data types means data types which are defined by the user. So classes are user-defined data types which contains similar types of objects. So classes are user-defined data types which contains similar types of objects. So here I have given three definitions of class. One more definition I will give. Class is a blueprint of an object. So I have given four definitions of class. Once more I will say. First one, class is a collection of objects having similar characteristics and behavior. Or you can say class is a collection of objects having similar data and functions. Or you can say classes are user-defined data types which contains similar type of objects. And one more definition I told, class is a blueprint of an object. Now I will give one example for class. You know apple, orange, banana, pineapple, etc. etc. All these are objects. We can collectively call all these objects as fruit. So apple, orange, mango, etc. are members of the class fruit. So here the class name is fruit. Apple, orange, etc. all comes under this class fruit. Another example we will see, car, bus, lorry, even bicycle, bike, etc. All these are members of the class vehicle. Okay, so these are two examples for class. So first example I told, fruit. Fruit is a class which contains objects like mango, apple, banana, etc. Second example I told, vehicle. Vehicle is a class which contains objects like car, bus, lorry, etc. So now we'll move for the next one. Next is object. So now we'll see the definition of object. An object is a real world element with characteristics and behavior. So an object is a real world element. You can say real world element or you can say real world entity. So an object is a real world element or entity with some characteristics and behavior. Or you can define an object as it is a programming element. So an object is a programming element that combines data and functions into a single unit. It is a programming element that combines data and functions into a single unit. I'll give one example for that. You consider an object as student. Okay, so student is an object. So student is having member data and member functions. So student is having member data and member function, or you can say student is having characters and behavior. So here, instead of characters and behavior, I will use the word member data and member functions. So we'll see what are the member data of the student. So member data of student are name of the student, register number of the student, course of the student or the course which he is studying, or you can say which college he is studying, even marks of the student. All these comes under member data. Okay, so member data means the characteristics of the student. So what is his name, register number, course, which college he is studying, all these comes under member data. Now we will see what are things comes under member function. For a student, here I have given two member functions. First one is input function and second one is output function. So input and output are the two member functions I have given for the object student. So this member function means, first one you see input. I can input the name of the student, the class of the student, or the register number of the student, even marks of the student. All these things I can input into the system. So all this comes under member data of the student. Next, output we will see. After inputting student's name, register number, class, etc., you need to get the output, or you can say display, or you can say result. Okay, so you need to get the result, that is output function. So two functions are here, input function and output function. Okay, so for the object student, member data are register number, class, name, course, college name, etc. And member functions are input, output. Here I have given only two member functions. If you want, you can add more member functions to this. Okay, so here I'll say what is an object once more. Object, it is a real world entity or element with characteristics and behavior. Or you can say in simple terms, object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. Okay, so object, it is a real world element. Whatever thing you are taking from the real world, you can consider that as an object. So here, for example, I can call this one chalk. So chalk piece, it is an example for object, or you can take one pen. This is also an example for object. Even chalk, pen, mango, apple, orange, all these things comes under object. Okay, so whatever thing you are taking, it will be having characteristics and behavior. Then you can call it as an object. So object is a real world element having characteristics and behavior. Another definition is a programming element that combines data and functions into a single unit. And I gave one example here for student. It consists of member data, that is your register number, your name, your class, your subject or even marks. All this comes under the member data of the student. Next comes to member function. Member function are input, then output function. So I have taught you what is a class, what is an object. So next we will be moving to the definition and declaration of classes and object. This is a very important topic for second year computer science students. Okay, so we will see what do you mean by definition of class. So a class definition, it is a process of naming a class. It is a process of naming a class. That means you need to give a name for the class. And data variables. First you give the name for the class, then you have to give data variables for the class. You can say data variables or you can say member data. And interface operations of the class. Interface operations means what are the member functions which you are giving inside the class. So a class definition is a process of naming a class and data variables and interface operations of the class. So class definition, it contains what are things? Class name, then it contains member data or you can say variables. Okay, member data or variables. Then the next one is it contains member functions. Okay, so a class definition you can call like this also. It starts with a class as a keyword. So a class definition starts with the class as a keyword, followed by the name of the class. So class is a keyword followed by the name of the class and then the body of the class. The body of the class is enclosed within flower brackets. And last, this flower bracket will be terminated by a semicolon. Okay, so a class definition starts with the keyword class followed by the class name and the class body. This class body is enclosed within flower brackets followed by a semicolon. Okay, just I'll say what do you mean by declaration of class. So a class declaration specifies the representation of objects. That is the main thing. Class declaration, it specifies the representation of objects of the class. Declaration means representation of objects of the class and the set of operations that can be applied to such objects. So a class declaration specifies the representation of objects of the class and the set of operations that can be applied to such objects. This class declaration you will study in the next session. Now we are continuing with the definition, class definition. So I'll explain the syntax for class definition. So a class definition starts with the keyword as class. Class definition starts with the keyword class followed by class name. You can say this one as class name or you can say as user defined name or you can say as tag name. Okay, so this name we users are giving. Okay, you can give any name for the class. So starts with the keyword class followed by the class name. It is a user defined name. That means you can give name for the class. Then followed by the flower bracket. Okay, this is the opening flower bracket. After this opening flower bracket, all these things comes under the body of the class. This many things comes under the body of the class. We will see what all things are there inside the body of the class. First, private. Okay, start with private colon. So private, protected and public. These three are called as access specifiers. Private, protected and public. These three are called as access specifiers. Then start with private access specifier, give a colon there. Then start with the member data. After that, you can give the member functions. So private, colon, member data, member functions. Followed by the next access specifier, protected, colon, member data, member functions. Followed by the next access specifier, public, colon, member data, member functions. Last, you will be closing the flower bracket and giving a semicolon. Semicolon in C++ denotes terminating. Okay, terminating means ending. So this is the general syntax of class. I'll say the class definition syntax once more. Class definition syntax starts with the keyword class. So class is the keyword. So it starts with the keyword as class. Followed by class name. So class name is a user defined name. That means you can give any name to the class. After that, open the flower bracket. Followed by private, then protected and public. This private, protected and public, these three are called as access specifiers. Private, public and protected, these three are called as access specifiers. Okay, then we'll start with the first one, private access specifier. Inside this private access specifier, we'll be giving member data and member functions. After that, you will be giving the next access specifier as protected. There also you can give member data and member functions. The next one is public access specifier. Inside that access specifier also you can give member data and member functions. Last, you will close the flower bracket and give a semicolon. Okay, so this is the definition of class. Now I'll explain the terms which comes under the class definition. It starts with the keyword class. Class definition starts with the keyword class. So keyword class, it is used to define the class. So keyword class, keyword means these are predefined words. After that, class name. Class name is the name of the class. So first you give class followed by class name, class name. Then class body you will be starting. This class body is enclosed in a pair of flower brackets. Class body is enclosed in a pair of flower brackets. That means class body will start with an opening flower bracket and last it will be ending with a closing flower bracket. Then this class definition. Class definition contains member data and member function. So class definition contains member data and member functions. Member data are the variables which can hold the data. Member data are nothing but variables. Example, you can say you will be giving int register number, int marks. Here register number, marks, all this comes under member data. Okay, so register number, marks or your name, your subject, total marks, etc. All this comes under member data. So member data are the variables which can hold the data. Next one is member functions. Member functions are also called as methods. These are invoked to perform a particular task. So member functions are invoked to do a particular task. For example, you can say input function. calculate function, output function, all these comes under member functions. So here I told what is member data and member functions. So member data are nothing but variables. Member functions are invoked to do a particular task. Then inside this class body you have seen three types of members, that is private, public and protected. These private, public and protected are called as access specifiers, or you can call it as visibility labels or visibility mode. So private, public and protected are called as access specifiers, which I'll say afterwards after giving an example for this. So now I'll give an example for how to define a class. So we are going to define a class named student. So how you will start? So start with the keyword as class, followed by the name of the class. What is the name of the class we can give here? We can give as student. So class is a keyword followed by the name of the class as student. Then open the flower bracket. Then inside the flower bracket I am giving the access specifier. So which is the first access specifier I am giving? Private, followed by colon. Then inside this student class I need to give the name of the student and the register number of the student. So name and register number I am going to give as member data. Name of the student and register number of the student I am going to give as member data. So see how we are going to give. So first we can give the name of the student. So name I am going to start with the data type as char, followed by the variable name. So name I am going to give as size as 10. So char name 10. Next one I am going to give register number. So you give data type as integer followed by the variable name. I am giving here the variable name as register number. So char name and int register number. So two member data I have given here. Now I am moving to the next access specifier, that is public. Okay, so here what I am going to do is I am going to input the name of the student and register number of the student. That is the first function I am going to do, inputting name and register number. The second function which I am going to do is just outputting name and register number. So two functions I am going to give here, input name and register number and outputting name and register number. So we will see how to write this member functions. So whenever you are writing a member function, you should start with a return type specifier. So OID is a return type specifier. OID is a return type specifier, which means it does not return any value. So OID means it does not return any value. So I am giving the function like this, OID input function semicolon. So this is the first function. I told one more function I am going to give, that is OID output function semicolon. Okay, so two functions I am giving here, input function and output function. Okay, so these two functions I am giving inside the access specifier as public. Then last what you have to do, this opening flower bracket, you need to close it. You need to close this opening flower bracket followed by a semicolon. Okay, just you see the example once more. Here I define the class. What is the class name I am giving? Student. So class student. So inside the class I am giving the member data as name and register number. Then member functions are input function and output function. So this member data I have given with the access specifier as private. So inside this access specifier private, I have declared char name of 10 int register number. followed by public. Public is the next access specifier. In that I have given the member functions. The member functions here are input function and output function. So OID is the return type specifier. Okay, first you give the return type specifier followed by the function name. So OID input function, OID output function. Last, close the flat bracket and give a semicolon. So now let us continue with the class definition itself. In that I told one term there as access specifier. So 3 access specifiers also I told: private, public, protected. So now we will be seeing what is access specifier. So these are the facilities used to provide data protection by hiding data and functions. So access specifiers are the facilities used to provide data protection by hiding data and functions. Or you can say like this also: access specifiers define the scope of the data. It defines the scope of the data. What do you mean by scope of the data? Scope of the data means where we have to use the data. So the data which you are giving, you will be giving member data and member functions inside the class. This member data and member functions, where we have to use it. So for that purpose you are giving the access specifiers. So it defines the scope of the data. So it decides whether the data members are made available to all functions or some functions. It decides whether the data members are made available to all the functions or to some of the functions. In simple terms you can say access specifiers, use of access specifier is for getting the scope of the data. So access specifiers define the scope of the data. That means where we have to use the data. Okay. So now we will be seeing 3 types of access specifiers. Which are the 3 types of access specifiers which you already saw in that class definition syntax. First one, private. Second one, public. Third one, protected. So these 3 are called as access specifiers. Now we will see this access specifier by an example. Suppose you are having a smartphone. Okay, so you are having a smartphone. So now we will see how this private, public and protected will work with the help of your smartphone. Okay, so first we will see private. So in private, if no one knows the password, so this smartphone which you are having, you have given a password also. So you are having a smartphone and you have given a password for your smartphone. So if no one knows the password except you, that means only you know your password, nobody else knows your password, then it is like private. Okay, so you are having a smartphone, a password is also there for your smartphone. If no one knows your password except you, that means only you know the password of the smartphone, that means only you can work with the smartphone, then it comes under which one? Private. Okay, now we will move for the next one, protected. So you are having a smartphone, password is also there for your smartphone. So this password, you and your parents. Okay, so who all knows the password? You and your parents. So if you and your parents knows the password, then it is like protected. So you and your parent knows the password, then it is like protected. We will go for the next one, that is public. Okay, so you are having a smartphone. Okay, so that smartphone password you are saying to everyone, your friends, parents, relatives, all these people, you are giving the password of your smartphone. So what will happen? Everyone knows your password and they all can work with this password, isn't it? That comes under public. Okay, so if everyone knows your password, it is like public. Okay, see this example once more. Private, first one, that means you are having a smartphone, you are giving password to your smartphone. If no one knows the password of your smartphone except you, it is like private. That means only you can work with the smartphone. It is like private. Then next one is protected. So you are having a smartphone, you are given password also for the smartphone. If you and your parents knows the password, then it is like protected. That means you can work with the smartphone, your parents also can work with the smartphone. The next one is public. If everyone knows the password, it is like public. That means everyone can use the smartphone. Okay, I think this example is clear to you. Now we will move for one by one. So first we will see private. Okay, private access specifier. I'll say the definition for private access specifier. Okay, when I'm saying the definition, you compare this with that example which I showed before. Okay, the data members mentioned under this access specifier can be accessed only by the member functions of the class. Okay, the data members mentioned under this access specifier can be accessed only by the member functions of the class. So what are the member data or member functions? What all things which you are giving inside the private access specifier can be accessed only within the class. Okay, now you see that example also. You are having smartphone, it is having a password, only you know the password, you can only access that. Same like that, instead of you see class and private access specifier. Okay, so inside the class you are giving the private access specifier. Who can access it? Only within the class only the member data and member functions can be accessed for private access specifier. Okay, so this private access specifier means the members declared under this private are accessible only within the class. Okay, that is the main point. What all things you are giving inside the private access specifier can be declared or can be called only within the class. Okay, can be used only within the class. And one more thing I'll say, this private access specifier is the default access specifier. Private access specifier is a default access specifier. That means if access specifier is not mentioned in the program, suppose in your program you are starting with class name, open the flat bracket, directly you are going for int register number, then char, name, in box you will be giving 10, semicolon, etc. So here I didn't give any access specifier. So what happened? This data members, which are the data members I told, a register number of the student and the name of the student, it will be taking or it will be considered as which access specifier? Private access specifier. Okay, so that is why private access specifier is the default access specifier. If you didn't mention that access specifier also, by default it will be taking as what are the things you are giving after the class, it will be taking as private access specifier. Okay, so see one example for this private colon I have given, then int a comma b, float C, or you can give char name of 15 or any size you can give there, So all these things are member data of which access specifier? Private access specifier. Okay, so this is the default access specifier. So the main point in this private access specifier is the members which are declared under private are accessible only within the class. Okay, so you are having mobile, you are having that smartphone with the password, only you can access your mobile. Same like that, this private access specifier also, only within the class it can be accessed. Okay, now we will move for the next one, public access specifier. Okay, so public, from the name itself it is clear. Public means it can be used anywhere in the program, isn't it? So we will see what it is. The data members mentioned under this access specifier can be accessed by the member functions inside and outside the class. Okay, so in simple terms I will say the data members which comes under public access specifier can be accessed both inside the class and outside the class. Okay, see that example, you match this one with the example. In that example I told the smartphone password everyone knows. So what will happen? All can use your smartphone. Same like this. What all things you are giving inside the public, you can use inside the class or outside the class. Okay, so both inside and outside this member data and member functions which you are giving inside the public can be accessed. Okay, so public access specifier means the data members mentioned under this access specifier can be accessed. Accessing means using. Can be accessed or can be used inside and outside the class. Example I can say like this, public access specifier, after that you have to give a colon, followed by two functions I am giving. One is input function and followed by output function. So how you will give input and output function? Before giving the function, you need to give a return type specifier. Okay, so here what is the return type specifier? OID. So I have given like this, OID input function semicolon, OID output function semicolon. Okay, so what all things you have declared here, that means input and output. These two functions can be accessed inside the class and outside the class. I think you got the difference between private and public access specifier. So I will say what is private access specifier once more. Private means the data members which are declared inside the private can be accessed only inside the class. Then comes to public, the data members which are giving inside the public can be accessed both inside the class and outside the class. Okay, so this input and output can be used both inside and outside the class. Now we will move for the next access specifier, that is protected. Okay, so this is the third access specifier. So first I will say what is the use of this access specifier. The data members mentioned under this access specifier can be accessed only by the member functions of the class. That means inside the class. Member functions of the class means inside the class. Then by the friend functions. So member functions inside the class, then by the friend functions and members of derived class. Okay, so I will say once more what is protected access specifier. The data members mentioned under this protected access specifier can be accessed inside the class, then by the friend functions and by the member functions of the derived class. I will say what you mean by friend function and derived class. Okay, friend function means a friend, it is a non-member function. Friend is a non-member function, that is a friend of a class. So friend is a non-member function, that is a friend of a class. In detail about this friend function, you will be studying in the next chapter, that is function overloading. Okay. Then the next one is derived class. Okay. Derived class actually comes under inheritance. Okay. So inheritance you have studied base class and derived class. So this derived class can access what all things comes under protected. Derived class means it will take properties from the base class. Okay, derived class will take properties from the base class. So keep in mind, protected access specifier, I am saying this, the data members which you are mentioned under this protected access specifier can be used inside the class, then friend functions of the class and members of the derived class. Okay, you consider the example now. Okay, so in that example I told, you are having smartphone, you are giving password to the smartphone, you and your parents are using. Okay, so who all are using? Yourself and your parents are using. Same like that, in protected, inside the class it can be accessed, then derived class it can be accessed. You consider parents as derived class or friend function. Okay, so you can access it, your parents can access it. Same like that, what all things which comes under protected can be accessed inside the class, then by the friend functions and by the derived class. Okay, now you see the example for protected. So you will be starting with protected colon. Here I am giving two variables there, int a comma int a, and I am giving float as b. Okay, or you can say int a comma b comma c, float b. Then you can give char name of 10. Okay, or even you can give int calculate function. All these things you can give with protected, but this access specifier protected usually you will not be giving, we will not be giving with our programs. Why? Because we are not starting with inheritance. When we go for inheritance only, we need to give this access specifier. That means when you are studying inheritance, you can use which access specifier also? Protected access specifier. So in normal programs, we will be using only two access specifiers, private and public. Okay, so that two access specifiers we will be using in almost all the programs. Protected access specifiers mainly we will be using in inheritance programs.